Friends, the purpose of this gathered meeting is not to decide the fate of nations. That is not within our power. We are here to seek the sense of this meeting on how we, as Quakers of the Crosswicks monthly meeting, are to bear ourselves in these troubled times. I ask that each to speak plainly, to listen in the Spirit, and to hold thy tongue until moved by the light, and not by anger. Are we agreed?
I am moved to speak first as among the eldest here. The yearly meeting has already spoken. Friends are to not take any part in this rebellion, neither to bear arms or to pay war taxes that feed it. This is clear counsel. Why do I hear among us, even in this room, voices that would have us sympathize with men who are committing treason against our sovereign? Is this the yearly meeting's guidance not sufficient for thee?
Friend Middleton speaks of lawful authority, and I respect his years and his leadership. But I ask him plainly, when authority becomes tyranny, does obedience still serve the light? The yearly meeting counseled peace, but it cannot speak to what is in my heart. I find my way not clear on this matter. Friends, not clear at all.
The requisition orders came to the mill on second day last week. 6 soldiers, crowned soldiers, arrived before sunrise. They took 40 bushels of grain, 40. The grain belongs to Henry Beck, and Henry Beck was not there, and I could not stop them. I went home to Church Street that night and could not look my wife in the face. I asked this meeting, is my silence in the face of that taking a peace testimony, or is it cowardice dressed up in plain clothes? I need an answer, not a minute.
Friends, Friend Clevenger speaks of his grain, and I understand his anger. But I would remind this meeting that it is not only property that is at stake. It is the order of this community, of this meeting, of our families and our future. Every step towards open rebellion is a step towards a chaos that will harm all of us, and some of us more than others.
Friend Bunting will speak of being pressed from both sides. And I would say it before he does. Last month, I counted 43 soldiers. They passed by my gate on Old York Road in a single morning. By evening, I had 6 of them, and I fed them, and could not have told thee which army sent them. The road does not care about our testimonies.
I hear thee, friend Ezra, and I take no quarrel with thee, but I will say this. The militia came through our farm on Ward Avenue last month and took our firewood. I will not say which side sent them, because it does not matter. This is the nature of armies. I will hold to peace from loyalty to any king, but because I have seen what soldiers leave behind, and it is always the children who are coldest.
Friend Bunting is right about what armies leave behind. I will be more specific. They leave behind broken fences, missing livestock, frightened children, and the women who must explain to those children why men with guns came to the door. I have had that conversation 3 times this year. I do not wish to have it again.
My wife speaks truly. Those of us on Ward Avenue are pressed from both sides. If we seem too loyal, the rebels take our footrails. If we seem too sympathetic to the cause, the crown takes our grain. Friend Shreve, I ask this meeting to consider a minute of plain neutrality, one that neither endorses nor condemns, but declares that friends of this meeting will walk in peace with all parties and serve none.
I hear friend Bunning's concern, and it's a practical and honest one. I will hold it before us, but I would first ask whether any other friend feels moved to speak before we speak of minutes. The sense of this meeting is not yet clear to me, and I will not write what I cannot feel. Let us hasten past the light.
I have not spoken in this meeting for 3 months. I was waiting. I confess I was waiting to hear something that was not fear or pride dressed in the language of the inner light. I have not yet heard it, so I will try to say it myself. This meeting is in danger of dividing not over principle, but over which among us is most afraid, and which among us is most proud. Neither is the light.
Friend Wellman, with respect, he has had in comfort these many years. He does not know what it is to have built something and to watch radical men threaten to tear it down just for the sake of a principle that will benefit merchants in Philadelphia far more than the plain farmers like most of us here. I have not sat confidently, friend. I have worked.
I respect friend Middleton's loyalty. But I would ask him, when the king's quartermaster came to the Davenport farm and took 3 of our best horses without payment or apology, was that the order he means? Because I felt very little of God there.
Friend Middleton, I am also a man of property, more perhaps than most here. But I tell thee, I gave a sack of flour last week to 2 men who were passing by, plainly continental soldiers. I tell this meeting plainly, because plain speech is what we are asked for. I did not ask their names. I did it because they were hungry. I will not pretend otherwise, and I will not call it the peace testimony.
Friend Hartley has just confessed something that will cost him dearly in this room. I have noticed that the men here are deciding whether to judge him, and the women are deciding whether to believe him. I believe him. I have done the same. I gave bread to 2 soldiers last month. It did not ask their regiment. I am telling thee now because friend Hartley should not stand alone in it.
Friend Hartley has just confessed before this entire meeting to aiding the rebellion. I do not condemn him for his charity, but I ask the meeting to notice. We are already past debates about principle. Actions have begun. Half of us are already on one side or the other, whether we admit it or not. A minute of neutrality will not hold us together if our hearts have already been divided.
Friend Abigail asks how I know it is the light moving me and not simply anger. That's a fair question. I've prayed on it more than I have slept. I will answer her plainly. I do not know with certainty, but I know that when I am at the mill alone at night, I ask in the silence, what is right? The answer I receive is not silence. Something speaks. I cannot prove it. It is the light, but I cannot ignore it.
Friend Middleton speaks of disownment as a consequence for those who act against this meeting sense. I pray this meeting does not become a tool of judgment against men who are genuinely struggling to walk rightly. If we disown every friend who is confused in these times, we will have very few friends left and a very empty meeting house.
I will say this plainly as friends are supposed to speak. If any man of this meeting takes up arms against the king, I will be the first to call for his disownment before the monthly meeting. Not from malice, but faithfulness to what we are and what we have always believed. We do not make war, we do not make exceptions. This is our testimony, and it is mine until I die.
Friends, friend Middleton may call for my disownment. So be it. I would rather be read out of this meeting as an honest man who struggled and failed to find his way to peace than remain in it as a coward who called his cowardice the peace testimony and slept soundly in his comfortable bed while his neighbors starved and bled. Forgive me, friends, but that is the truth.
Otherwise, he would be the first to be honored.
Friends, we are come to a place where the heat in the room is greater than the light. I shall stop the meeting here and ask thee, every friend, on every side of what has been said, to be still. We shall sit together in silence and seek clarity amidst peace. The Spirit is not in the loudness of our convictions. It is in the quiet beneath them. Let us wait. Let us listen. Let the light do its own work, as it always has done when we cease our own.
Friend Warman, I must ask thee directly. He says the light does not only counsel patience, but thee who hast waited long and spoken wisdom. I am 29 years old, with 2 little ones at home, and they are taking my grain. At some point, does the waiting itself become a kind of answer in itself? Does remaining silent not eventually mean saying something, only quietly, and dressed up as faithfulness?
Friend Woolman waited to hear something that was not fear or pride. I confess, I have only fear to offer. My farm is visible from the road. There is nowhere to hide when either army decides it needs what I have. I am not proud of my fear, but it is honest, and this is a meeting that asks for honesty.
I ask this meeting only this: whatever happens, whatever any of us does or doesn't do in the months ahead, remember that we sat together in this room and we tried. We tried to find the light together. We try to hear one another in love. That must count for something. Even if we are scattered by morning, it must count for something.
I will say what perhaps no one else will say. Plainly, most of us in this room are afraid. Afraid of the soldiers, afraid of disownment, afraid of our neighbors, afraid of being wrong. I do not think the light speaks clearly to a frightened heart. I think we need more silence before we need more words, and I think we need to protect one another, whatever our differences.
My husband is right, and I will add, when this war is over, whichever way it ends, the people in this room will still need to plant fields next to one another. We will still need to bury our dead together. We will still need to sit in silence together on first day to wait for the light. I ask thee to remember that before thee judges thy neighbor tonight.
Friend Abigail spoke earlier of marriage prospects and community as though they were small things to confess. I will tell thee they are not small. I was married young and grateful for it. And my husband is gone and I manage alone. Let us not pretend practical concerns are beneath us in this meeting. The light is not too holy to attend to bread and children.
Friend Clevenger asked me whether silence itself is an answer. Yes, it does. That is why this meeting must say something, not to decide the war, but to declare who we are. And who we are is this: a people who believe there is that of God in every person, in the crowned soldiers, in the continental militia, in the frightened farmer, and in the young man at the mill who cannot sleep. Every one of them. The moment we forget that, we have lost ourselves entirely.
I have listened this evening with more patience than I thought I possessed, and I find myself, though I will not change my position, less certain that friend Hartley is entirely beyond the light. I am still certain he is wrong, but I am less certain he is faithless. Perhaps that is as far as I can go tonight. Perhaps it is farther than I thought I would go.
I do not ask this meeting to bless what I may do. I only ask that the members, when thee judges me, if thee judges me, that I sat in this room and I struggled, and that the struggling was real, and that I love this meeting and these people, even on the days I could not do what was meant for me to do. This is all I have to say.
I came to this meeting because I wanted thee to know, before thee hears something about me from someone else, that I am not at peace with what I am made do, and am not indifferent to the cost. I would rather keep my mill and my membership and my place among friends than anything the Continental Army might offer me. I do not think that it is what the light is asking of me. God forgive me if I am wrong.
I came here tonight not knowing what I believed. I'm not sure I know now. But sitting in the quiet of this room, the room my grandfather helped build, I feel something I have not felt on the road. Perhaps that is enough for tonight.
I find I have more to respect in this room than I arrived expecting to find. I still believe what I believe, but friend Hartley's confession was honest. and friend Woolman's patience shames me a little. And friend Hannah's plain speech about children and coldness, I will carry that. Whatever I think of the cause, I will carry that. A woman can do at least that much.
Thomas and I will go home tonight to our children and our cold farm on Ward Avenue, and we will pray, as we do every night, that the armies pass us by. I have no great principles to offer this meeting, only the hope that being faithful in small things, day after day, is itself a kind of testimony. It is the only one I know how to give.
I will hold to my neutrality, whether the meeting blesses it or not. It is all I have to offer my children. A father who stayed alive and kept his faith and held his family together through whatever is coming. Perhaps that is not a heroic answer, but it is an honest one. And this is a meeting that is supposed to value honesty above all.
I shall go home to a house where there is no man to speak for me, and I shall be glad of it tonight. The silence in my kitchen will be different than the silence in this room. But I believe they are akin. Both are listening for the same thing.
The question before us is not which army is righteous. Both armies are made of men, and men are not righteous. And any army that tells thee otherwise is lying to thee for its own purposes. The question is whether we will remain who we are, a people of peace, of the inner light, of plain truth, regardless of what the world demands. That is the only question worth answering in this room.
The sense of this meeting is not yet clear enough to write a minute, and I will not force it, but I must believe, that what has happened here tonight has not been wasted. Thee has spoken plainly, thee has listened imperfectly, but honestly. We saw clarity amidst peace, and a light did not leave this room, even in our disagreement. I ask that each friend carry this matter into prayer until we meet again, and trust that the way will open, as it always has, if we will but wait upon it together. Let's pray.